Is there a better way at taking your meeting notes? Actually, yes, there is. And we're going to dive into that today. Let's get into it. Welcome to What the RFI. I'm Matt Brennan, and this is the podcast all about CA. So today, we're going to talk about meeting notes. And with meeting notes, it's something that we do daily. We do it at our monthly construction site meetings. It's maybe a general phone call, maybe it's an in person meeting, maybe it's a client meeting. It happens all throughout. And the question is, how are you tracking it? And there's a lot of value of tracking it because we're human beings. We can only digest so much. And when you ask me, what did we talk about last week? What did we talk about 6 months? What did we talk about 24 months ago during the design process? That's where meeting notes are very key. So today we're going to do, this is going to be one of 3 show part sessions. Okay. And we're kind of reversing it because we're going to get into the end of this thing where we're going to talk about AI note takers. And I know it's kind of reverse. Why wouldn't you start at the beginning and build up? Because I want to bring a new perspective to this and think about today's technology and how we can start to utilize it in our day-to-day operations. All right. So today we're going to talk about AI note takers. Next show, we're going to talk about actually taking a construction site meeting notes. And then the first show, we're going to talk about your initial kickoff construction. So it's like I said, it's a reverse way of doing it, but there's some value in going that route because you're going to, again, I think it's going to build up foundation in a different, unique way from a learning perspective. Okay. So, like I said, today's show, we're talking about an AI note takers, and there's a bunch that we'll kind of bring up to the screen and go through it. And like I said, I think it'll bring some perspective because, again, you might already be taking notes. So this episode is going to be really key to that. Now, if you're listening, fantastic, love it. This has always been recorded in the video format. It's posted to the YouTube channel, What the RFI, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to do my absolute best to describe what I'm talking about, but I think for the benefit, if you want to see this in action, go to the YouTube channel and check it out there and see. But again, I'll explain it as you're listening on your drive or wherever you're doing your run in that. Okay. And of course, if you check out the YouTube, like and subscribe, of course, it always helps. So let's get right into it. AI note takers. What is it? What's the difference between a general taking your own meeting notes and an AI note taker? Well, of course, meeting notes, and we'll dive into this in the next episode, is that's you manually inputting it. And hopefully you're catching everything, right? You're typing it, you're making your own physical notes, okay? In today's revolution of AI technology, we have AI note takers out there now. Okay. There's lots of products in respect to that. And almost think of like an AI note taker as that person in that courtroom that's typing on the little typewriter and transcribing real time, right? You're basically bringing that assistant into your meeting. Okay. So that's, like I said, I'm going to show you how, because there's a couple of things that we can get into this. Okay. And in terms of AI note takers, guess what? You've probably been in a meeting already. You've been in that Zoom call, you've been in that Google Meets or that Teams call, and that AI bot wants to join the meeting. You've already seen this. You've been present, and you've probably raised your eyebrow going, what's going on? Who is this? What is this? I don't want to be recorded. I've had clients, I've had city officials saying, we're not attending any meetings when there's an AI note taker. Okay. Reason being, do they not want to be held accountable? I don't know. But it's today's technology, and there's some really powerful tools that you're going to see through today's episode. So, through some of the common ones you've probably already seen is Microsoft's Copilot. Used it, not impressed. Don't waste your time, to be honest. One I did use for for a number of years was Fathom, and this is one that was really good. It came in, it recorded the call, it was a bot, and then afterwards you could go and ask it questions and that respect. But it always had to join the meeting, and you always had to rewatch stuff. Okay, and then there was Read AI, which is very similar to that. And then there was one that I was dabbling with called Decisions. And this one was linked into Microsoft Teams. And, it actually, you could kind of set up the template. It was kind of hokey. I've got one contractor it uses on a weekly basis. They enjoy it, but it only uses Teams. And today's episode is we're going to talk about Granola. This is the one that I've enjoyed using. I've been using it for the last almost 6 months now. I've been very, very impressed. Okay. And let's just be very clear about this episode. This is not paid by Granola. Granola did not reach out to me. I reached out to them, and which they did give me an awesome referral code, which I'll put in the link in the description below. The referral code basically gets you one full free month, which is great, and then also gives me a kickback and helps maintain and pay for the show to continue being broadcast on all the streaming services that you guys love to listen. So let's get into it. Why did I select Granola? Why? Like I said, I started 6 months ago, getting back into the architectural field, taking meeting notes daily, running monthly site meetings for a number of key projects. At the end of the day, it just made sense to get an AI note taker. And I ran through the courses again. I tried my Fathom, I tried the Re AI, and the one thing that really bothered me with a lot of these apps is that they need to join the call. Okay? And that would set a bad taste to everyone. Sometimes even a contractor would boot it from the call, and that was useless in my opinion. And my meetings aren't always online. A good portion of them are, but typically I'm in person, right? Or I'm just grabbing a few people from the staff and running through a project design, and I need something I can grab right there. I can't invite everyone to Teams, even though we're in the flesh. So that was kind of my first thing. I was looking for a note taker that did not join the call. All right, that was the first thing. Okay. Um, the other thing is I take notes, right? I give our junior staff a hard time if they come up to me and they're looking for stuff to do, and we start talking about stuff, and I see absolutely no writing down. I give them a hard time. I'll literally tell them, go grab their notebook, come back, and then let's talk, because there's no way they're going to comprehend everything that we're talking about. So I've always been on the side of things where I need to take my own personal notes. I'm really good at that because it's so important that you're digesting what the person says, you're listening, you're making notes of it, and then you're going back and you right away, you're not going, what did I miss? Right. So it's really important. So I wanted an app where I could actually put notes into it. Okay. And that's where a lot of these AI note takers, decisions, and Fathom, you can't do that. You can't go in and start adding your notes and combine and merge the two. That was just flat out. And this is where Granola made it a little different. Is you actually type your notes, and I'm going to show you this in a second. It actually lets you write your notes, and then through the AI notation, it puts it back and forward. Okay, and like I said, most of all, I needed a note taker that I could take in person, online, when a phone call is received, or just again a group of people together in that spontaneous moment. I wanted a note taker that I could just grab and go, and that's where Granola really starts to shine too. Okay, and so when I discovered Granola, it really checked all these boxes and more. Right? And there's a few things that we're going to show that's just game changer throughout this little demo and this introduction to it. And a little bit about the company. When they started up, they raised 20 million in their first original seed fund in the first week, so really impressive. And then I think a few months later they went up to 128 million. So they definitely are valued as a great company in that sense, in today's world and what it is. And definitely, like I said, I can see why they got the funding for it. And one thing to just be really clear about what really interested me with Granola as well, because it's not an AI bot that joins the calls. It doesn't record video, and it does not record audio. So how does this work? Well, what it does is it live transcribes everything. So as I'm talking to you, and we're going to pull this up in half a second, you get to see how it all works. It live transcribes the whole conversation. So I think there's some value about that. Yes, you should be transparent with your clients and your team that you're live transcribing this, but you're not recording it in both video and audio. And I think that's a bit of gives you a little bit more flexibility where someone's like, well, I don't want to be recorded. Well, you're not, right? I'm just getting text from this conversation. Same thing if you pulled up your iPhone and used the voice memo map, voice app and everything, and you record your message, it does a live transcription. That's all it's doing. It doesn't know exactly who's talking, but once you start making reference to that person, then it kind of starts to figure out and starts connecting the dots. So without further ado, let's get into granola. Like I said, if you're listening, I'm going to do my best to kind of describe what I'm doing. But if jump over to the YouTube channel and then watch it there, because where I'm going to start to screen share this right off the get go. So here we go. Let's do this. So welcome to Granola. So the first thing I just want to point out, when you set up and install it, the first thing it's going to do, it's going to ask you to connect it to your email. And that's really important, whether it's your Gmail suite or your Microsoft Office 365. And why is that important? Well, it automatically syncs up your calendars. Okay? And that is the most critical thing, because the moment you jump into Granola, it's going to look at all your upcoming meetings. And we'll dive into this element of why this is beneficial in a minute. Okay. So your calendar connects on the left side and everything, and you can hide it here. We've got all our spaces, our notebooks, basically all for all my projects. Maybe you got some personal items in that sense. And then, of course, all the settings, and we'll get into the nitty gritty in a moment. And of course, there's the AI chat component, which again, we're going to do an extensive review of that. Okay. So let's just get into a basic note. Let me just kind of show you how this works. So as soon as I click on new note, okay, we're in production, and you'll see it's actually working because it's live transcribing. So if we were having a conversation right now, it would be live transcribing this, and it's fantastic, and it would know between the two components. Okay, and right away you can add your own title. Now, teaser, it's going to do that for you anyways, but I want control because I like taking my own physical notes. So we're gonna call this a granola CA demo. Okay. And the way it works is you can type in your notes. This is where I add my notes. So you can just type it as you please. But where it becomes really powerful is basically we're going to do a number sign space, and it turns into a title. And this is the intro. And from there, I'm going to go to the next line. I'm going to do a dash space. It's going to automatically categorize it. So this is how you take your notes as you normally would. So once you kind of get into this habit of understanding how the program works, just these two simple methods, your notes are going to become very refined. So basically, we did a user intro to the UI. And then we're going to basically demo the live note taking. Okay. And you can keep going in there, and maybe you got off on just talking and actually listening and being part of it, and you forget what you're doing. And that's okay. That's where this is going to go. Sometimes when you're in some of these big meetings and you get a little confused what's going on, and you've kind of days off, or you're checking emails and you're doing it, at the bottom here this is where this becomes really powerful. And I haven't seen this one with any other note takers. That you can basically, if you've used ChatGPT or Cloud or any of these kind of AI tools, is we can talk to it. So they've got these things called recipes. And again, we'll dive into this a little deeper later in the video. So the first one of the recipes that I like to use, and you can see that almost a million have used it as well, that have started saying it's great, is what did I miss? Well, if you start to zone out, it's going to basically come up and tell you what is going on. You can even make recipes saying, make me sound smart. And it'll kind of take what's happened in the transcripts and put it together. Maybe you want to suggest a question. And sometimes these work really well. What I miss works really well. It really, really does. And it goes into that detail. So that's kind of a powerful thing with it. And we'll talk about where this becomes extremely powerful later in this conversation. Okay. So we come through all this, we've done our own physical notes, and we're basically done with the call. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to wrap it up. And at this point, I'm going to click, and it would automatically stop. But again, just to be safe, I'm going to click. And at this point, the meeting's done. Now, we've got this enhanced notes now. Because it's got a full transcript here of everything we've talked about, it's going to take my notes and then start to enhance it. Okay. So what it's doing is it took my live notes that I physically put in there, because that's really important to me. I needed that there. And from there, it starts to add all the extra little benefits. So under my intro, user intro to the AI, demo of the live note taking, and then under it, it added the additional comments: lives transcribing active during session, noted type more. And maybe you want to add up more to this. Maybe you want to write up an email. This is where you can start to use this tool. We would automatically note who was in the meeting, which is great. So we can keep track that it was the three individuals, the three construction PMs, whatever the case is. I can add it to a folder. So we're going to add that to my one of my projects, my Sardis school, my Langton, whatever project that I'm working on. I can add it in there. And then even too, up here on where it says my notes enhance, is I can go to my original notes to what the AI did. So you can see it. And when using this tool, I meet with owners on a weekly basis. We do a standard owners architects meeting where we're just dealing with items for their project. And of course, after we've done these calls, you can copy these notes and just blast it by email. And boy, are they impressed. Holy smokes, look at these detailed notes. Now, where the downfalls are on this is sometimes if you've got someone that has a unique name, yeah, you may want to check the spelling of that. It sometimes will work, sometimes it won't. Maybe your project name is different. Maybe again, a really contractual term, sometimes it may not. But overall, it's pretty good. Take a quick skim, and for some reason, if it doesn't, again, and be honest that you're using this with your clients in that respect. Okay. So copy and send, that's absolutely huge with it. And so this was a quick little fun exercise. It didn't really relate to our day to day. It was a real product. Let's do an actual CA meeting, because I think this is where you guys are going to realize, holy smokes, this actually is a really, really powerful tool. So let me go back home. I'm going to do a brand new note, and here we go. All right. Welcome to the call, owner, and let's talk about project A. So first off, let's for our CA, let's review the outstanding RFIs. And this is where in Granola, we want to enunciate things. It was really, really important. If you just say the elevator RFI, that's good. But I want to get in details. I want to get in. So we've got RFI 12 elevator switch. And then at this point, we can even do a subcolumn of it. Follow up on electrical. And we got RFI 22 door hardware keying. Owner, are you going to do that? Yeah, you're going to actually, I need you as the owner to go and talk to your maintenance staff how they want the keying all like to the whole building, key separate rooms, classroom locks, how are the cabinet locks, how are they going to be keyed? I'm going to leave that to you to follow up. Take note, I didn't add anything under that note, but I did put a title of it, like kind of a subcolumn, and that's fantastic because it's going to do that. Let's keep going. So we've got some shop drawings, some submittals to review. So, we got the door hardware, and, we're going to make a note, coordinate this with RFI 22. And then we've got the aluminum glazing, waiting for building envelope. And again, take the time, write these out because it's really important, right? That's hands down, that's a key element of it. And if you're using Grammarly, yes, it will work right inside Granola, by the way, too. And then you just keep going. And then maybe we've got some owner request items. Sidewalks to change to raised at parking lot. Put some more notes. We talk about that. Yeah, we have two sidewalks that we want to be raised on the north side. Down on the south side, we can do a standard let down, painted crosswalk, and then back to the let down and get back up. So let's do that. In doing that, we want them to be painted yellow because that's our school district standard. And in addition to that, the concrete surrounding what we'll do is some exposed aggregate or stamped concrete, that kind of effect at that location. Sounds good. By the way, Granola, what did I miss? Check it out. It'll do that. And you just keep going and do this for changes, because that's always a good topic too. Changes. Quote 163 door elevator. stainless, process of CO. Okay. And talk all about changes. Quote 164, the request for extra on the additional topsoil. No, we will decline this as per the contract. It didn't note that. I think that's a great thing to do, owner. I don't agree with this change that the contractor is providing. And I think that's it. Any other items we haven't talked about? No, fantastic. Great. Thanks for doing the call with me. And we'll talk again. Done. Now, kind of as we did some of these notes, let's refine this, and we're going to run through the notes that is provided, and you're going to start to see where this is really, really, really slick. So RFI 12, elevator switch follow up on electrical, that was pretty straightforward. There's no more information. We did talk about that, so my note kind of stood true. RF 22, door hardware keying. I didn't put anything in that. I didn't actually note that, but both the owner and I were talking about it. In order to consult with maintenance staff on keying preference, whole building key to light versus SEP rooms, classroom locks, cabinet locks, fantastic. This is great. And we can even expand these notes as well. And we can go into detail. And that's where we've got these things called templates. And let me go through the rest, and I'll show you how a template works for all these. Then we've got submittals. Nothing was really added there. The owner requested items: sidewalks change, raised parking lot, north side, 2 raised sidewalks. Now here's the AI notes: south side, standard let down, painted cross, let down, back up, painted yellow, school district standard, surrounded concrete, exposing aggregate or stamped concrete finish. This is fantastic. This does wonders in that respect. And because in Granola, because I'm always having the same type of meetings, well, guess what? You can apply this with you can make these templates. So owner meeting, CA focus. And this is my standard way I always run these meetings. And by doing it, it's actually going to rearrange these notes based on that categories that I set. So basically I had general updates, RFI, submittals, owner request items, changes, pricing, action items, and it lists it all out. And this is what I would copy and send off to my clients after my phone call. And it would just be for our email record. Now, I don't take those notes and I don't paste them into a Word document to keep them, because we're using Granola and we've got them here at any given moment. Okay. So with your now, kind of going back, I just want to show you why the calendar was so important. If I've got a couple meetings coming up, I've got a meeting coming up on Thursday, July 9th. And actually, let me go here. Actually, I got some meetings next week. I've got a consultant meeting to talk about RF3 coordination. Because this is a future meeting in my calendar, well, I can come in here and I can pre-write my notes. So I'm going to just basically going to say general. And I'm going to say fire spray has already been discussed at previous meetings. And I know what this meeting is about, and it's something that's becoming an ongoing conversation. So the thing is, by let me do this, is I can pre-put some of my notes into it. I do have on Tuesday, I've got an owner's rep meeting here where I've already put my notes. We're going to talk about opera walls. We're going to talk about a tree perm, and we're going to talk about some IFC specs and how they're getting wrapped up. If I want to add more notes, I can just do that. So I can preload these notes ready to go. Once we jump into the call, I already have these set up, these kind of agenda items that I want to talk about, and then we can dive into the details. Okay. And that is kind of the slick thing. And because this connects with Teams, this connects with any of your Google Meets and everything, it will automatically pop up in that respect. Okay. So this brings me to the conversation of when to use Granola. Okay. Well, first of all, I use this daily. Okay. Quite a few times in a day. As we've already discussed, doing my ongoing online meetings, Teams calls, that goes without saying. Basically a quick owner's architect's meeting, a conversation with a contractor, whatever the case. If it's on Teams, it's immediately being brought into Granola. Really simple on the sidelines in that respect. Okay. Say if I get a phone call, well, our office is ran through Teams, so we don't have dedicated phone lines, which is great. It actually runs through Teams. So when I get a call receptionist, hey, so-and-so is on the call, contractors on call, great, put them through, put my headset on, and guess what? Granola actually pops up on top of my screen and says, hey, click here to start the meeting if you want to record this. Absolutely. It's great. And then we would just automatically put it into the project folder. It knows who I'm talking to because it's all the teams. It's great in that respect. And maybe we're doing a site walk after the site meeting. Well, there's an iPhone app that I can start recording. I've done that. We've been walking around the site where we're talking about Shot Creek, and we had to basically add some additional dowels for the Shot Creek to hold the rebar in place because of the flexibility that it was giving, and we just weren't confident that it was going to hold, and we didn't want to see cracking down later road. Because this was ought to digest, I opened up my phone, I ran Granola in the background and just recorded, made a couple notes on it, as you would in that respect. And then once we are done, I had a conversation already written out for that change that I had to issue out. And I think that's where it's really critical. And of course, a lot of my site meetings, guess what? They're in person. So I'm not on a Teams call, but I'll run Granola in the background while I do my primary meeting notes. And again, next episode, I'm going to show how I do that with this combination, right? Okay. So we've kind of talked about why Granola, and you've kind of seen high level why this is really cool. And you can start to see why I'm getting really excited about this application. Okay. This is where Granola changes the game. This is the power of Granola. And so when you finish the meeting, this is where Granola really shines. Okay. So first off, I can go back to this, the note that we just did, our mock owners architects meeting right now. I'm going to go back into this because this happened 2 days. This happened 6 months ago, right? You can ask it anything. So we asked, basically before we could say, hey, what did I miss during the call? But now the recipes have shifted to what are my to-dos? And it will automatically list my to-dos. Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. One thing that we can do is we can actually help this draft up a CCN, right? If we talk during the meeting, we could say what type of CCN for this change, the owner change. So let's actually try it out. Draft out CCN for the owner change for the crosswalks. Okay. And it's going to go through proposed change, revise parking lot sidewalks and everything, provide 2 raised cars, like everything, reason for change, scope review, requires provide. So you can do this. You can talk more. We can shorten this. We can put this into a simplified description. This is great to kind of craft it out. My opinion on AI, and you've heard me say it on the show before, but I'm just going to repeat it again, is AI is an incredible tool, but you need to know how to use it. You need to know how to drive. And a good little simple example is you got your 16-year-old kid. He just got his license, and you give him your sports car, your Ferrari, your Corvette, your Mustang, whatever the case. You give him the keys and say, go for it. He's going to wrap it around the pole, right? There's so much power in this application that they're going to destroy themselves in that respect. They're not going to understand in circumstances when they get put in that odd bind what to do because there's no experience. Okay. And that's where AI is. Okay. Given to someone that's been in the industry for a long time, that's done their homework, it's fantastic because you can just frankly read out the bullshit that it puts out to you. And you can see that it's just not true. Or you can go, that's good, but I'm going to make it better. And you become the director, the conductor of this orchestra, and you're playing with AI. That's where it's really powerful. You need to know what you're doing. And this is the same thing with these notes, right? I'm taking this live transcript, help me create this. I can write my own CCN for this, but this is just going to add that extra level of professionalism, critique, and also, making sure that it's not going to fall short with the contractor. So this is where it becomes really, really powerful. Okay. You can ask the questions, right? Even more. One thing, like if there was a meeting going back, let's look at previous meetings. So this is where I can go to, let me go into an actual project here, and I can go into, I think I had, let me go into one of my meetings. Yeah, go into here. I can ask it questions such as, did we talk about a roundabout? Okay. And you can basically ask questions because sometimes this is really critical. What was the dates given for this install? Right? and I didn't even spell install properly. The thing is, this is really, really powerful. You can start treating this as like your chat GPT because it's using chat, but it's also like your Google insights based on previous information. And I think that's really cool about that. And that's where Granola really shines. Now, where it becomes really powerful with this is when you go into the projects, we can ask about the folder. So again, because this is a project and I've got everything about it, I want to ask, what is the turnover dates provided for the road A handover? And it's going to go through my whole entire notes on that project. And it's going to look at every single meeting and start to look at it. The most recent meeting had, let me checking those. It'll go through and start to pull up all the notes and say, well, we talked about the deadlines, the construction schedule. So as of June 24th, August 1st was there, August 14th, and then, before, and you can go through all the other previous notes. So it'll go through every single meeting for this. It's really, really, really powerful. And I think this changes the game for anyone because you can only take in so much, right? That's the reality of it. In our lovely construction reality here is that everyone will point fingers, right? And they're certain that we said this. Well, hold on. I'm a human being. I don't like. I'm very cautious in a meeting that I would basically hold to something I said because unless I damn well knew that it's there, I'm not going to say I know, right? I'm very cautious where I want to put the elements into it. Okay, and that's where, like, again, Granola is really slick because I can go back and I say, if someone said, "Oh, we didn't talk about this," I can just search it in that folder, and holy smokes, it's saved my butt so many times. And I can do it live, right in person, right in those construction meetings. Actually, no, in meeting 37, we talked about this pricing. 38, we talked about refine. We got revised pricing. And then 39, we are going to process the CO. You agreed to this, right? Or like, again, talking about construction scheduling, like that's always a critical one. Oh, I didn't say that. Well, what did the transcript say? And it's just holding everyone accountable to it. And that's where this program is very, very, very slick. And I love it on that aspect of it. Okay. Beside the spaces and everything, we will dive into the recipes here. This is where, again, you can create your own recipes. You can look at other people's recipes, look again, best practices. It's pretty cool what you can do. And again, I've been talking about Granola as an AI note taker for my construction CA practice. Okay? This can be used from sales, right? You can use it for one-on-ones, pretty much anything, because a meeting is a meeting. It's what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? It's a very, very powerful program in that respect. Okay. And the other thing is you can add your own team to this and you can share your team folders for all the projects that you're working on. So again, if I'm in multiple if we're basically, I've got a couple of colleagues that are in the same project as I am, only one of us has to do it, and we can always see the notes and we can always record it, or we can basically both notes on both sides, and then we can compare our own notes with the AI notes, and it's going to be that very powerful. So great to have your organization on it in that respect, and you can kind of cycle between the companies. And the other thing I just wanted to point out is in the settings here, there was my templates that you can basically go and create those recipes for it, and that's really slick. I'm trying to remember where it was in the settings, but basically doing those templates, you can I wonder where it is here. But anyways, in the templates, you can basically set up those standard workflows to it. And that's where it's really good to kind of bring that into light. And then you can customize your notes based on the meeting. As I showed you, having that owner's rep, maybe a site meeting, maybe a one-on-one, and it automatically structures it every time. And that's really, really cool. And when we get into the next episode, when we do our real site meeting notes, again, you can go to Granola and say, help me write this note better, and then bring it into it. Okay. So that's kind of between all that, that's really, really slick. The other aspect of this is we can connect into other apps. So, like if you're using Slack, you can connect it. And again, the notes basically will automatically take from there and then post them into your Slack channels, which is, again, pretty cool. Again, from a team aspect, if you had a project thing in there, you could see it. Someone took some no notes, they could go in and take a review, right? Notion, you can also connect that. Great, fantastic tool. I've used that for a lot of things. I'm actually exploring it, seeing how I can make it better with my CA practice going forward in the day to day. But again, maybe that'll be an episode on its own. Okay. Of course, if you're into sales, this tool is fantastic. HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, all great, phenomenal tools in the sales side of things. Again, these notes are automatically connected and pushed right into those platforms like the other ones, but again, in such a way. Where I see this really powerful is I actually connect this directly into Chat GPT, Cloud, all those AI note takers. Okay. So the two work hand in hand and are talking back and forth. So I can take my meeting notes, bring them into Chat GPT, start to really dissect what we talked about and start crafting out a bunch of SIs and CCNs, proposed changes, whatever the case you're calling it for that type of project. That's where it's very cool. And again, I'll do an episode just on that by itself. Okay. So, wrapping up this kind of granola review and all that. Of course, what's the pricing, Matt? Well, it's actually pretty reasonable. It runs for about $14 per month. That's US, of course. But I promise you, after your first meeting, you're going to think is going to be paid for that month. So it's overall, it's an essential tool. I've really enjoyed it. I've showed it to a few other colleagues, my staff, and I think there's 5 of us right now that are pumping out notes each day and seeing the benefits. And like I said, I use this daily. I use it for personal calls. I use it for everything. It's fantastic when you need to be able to go back to the meeting, search up all that information. It's fantastic. Okay. And like I said, the link below gives you a full month free on it, which is, hey, you saved your $14 there, and that gives me a kickback. And like I said, it helps keep the show going and pays for its hosting and all that good stuff. So yeah, pricing what it is, but honestly, for what you're getting out of it, and again, thinking of your ROI value of you typing your notes versus just letting this run on your kind of standard day-to-day meetings. This is fantastic. You'll never look back. Yeah, I'll even pay it for myself if work ever took it away from me. Okay. And this kind of brings up to the conclusion of here is like the reality of the meetings. Okay. We're busy. We're in meetings daily and we're human beings. We can only take in so much. And like I kind of noted, when I have a junior staff come up to me, I tell them they've got to bring their notebook because they will not remember. Even if I'm going to the grocery store, if it's 3 things or more, I'm writing it down. I can remember 1 and 2, but that third thing, no, I need to write it down, right? It's just we're human beings and everyone's a little bit different. But the reality, if you're the most attention to detail and you remember these things and you soak up like a sponge and you spit it back, are you really going to remember it? And of course, are you going to remember it tomorrow? Are you going to remember it in 3 days? Are you going to remember it in 5 days? Are you going to remember it in a month? That's where this tool is very powerful. And what I like about it is that even though I showed you a couple notes, I was typing out the notes. The reality is I want to be focused on the meeting. I want to be really, truly engaged. And I don't have to type any notes in Granola, and it'll automatically spit out the meeting notes for me, which a lot of note takers will do. But again, I like how I can add a couple little keynotes, just a simple, few words in a sentence, and that's it. And it's going to fill out the details. And then I can go back and then I can start asking it questions. And I think that's really powerful. And again, once I've got a group of meetings together, I can ask the group of all those notes, right? When do we talk about this deadline? When was it promised? Who's doing what? Whose responsibility? It's accountability. It's not pointing fingers. It's being accountable to what's being done. And that, like I said, that search function to me is the game changer here. It really, because it's not looking at one specific me, it's looking at a whole. It this outweighs all the note takers out there. If you've got one that you're using, drop it in the comments. Send me a note by email, fan mail, whatever. I want to hear what you're using. But to me, right now, my data workflow, this is fantastic. Okay. I know I'm kind of preaching this and selling it, even though I have no stock into this. But yeah, like I said, it's a tool that's been very powerful. So in closing off this episode, I use this tool every day. You can see I'm very passionate about it. You can see why I've drunk the Kool-Aid juice on this. I think it's fantastic. It works really well. We need to take notes, great notes at any moment where we are, right? We've got to be accountable. Owner's going to call us out on stuff. When was this promise, those things. And this is a tool that just takes it to a new level. I've almost actually dropped my handwritten notepad. I still have one for those odd chicken scratch notes and stuff like that, and for kind of my list of to-dos. But this is where I've also any meeting with a client, I've moved it digitally 100%, which I love. Right, less paper, more environmental friendly, and that kind of stuff. Okay, and if you really want to up your meetings, this is the tool that's going to do it. It's up my meetings dramatically. The fact that I'm sending out meeting notes right after the call, plus more, plus details, very clear, is fantastic. And yeah, it's just a fantastic tool in that sense. So like I said, this is good. This is one of the 3-part series that we're going to do. Next episode, we're going to talk about the actual meeting notes, running a construction CA meeting. A lot of people have been asking me about that. So I'm going to go into those details and show you how I like to run it in conjunction of having this on the side. Okay. And then the first episode, or the third episode, we're going to talk about doing an initial kickoff meeting. Because again, there's a certain kind of baseline of things that we need to talk. So more to come. Stick around, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes in that respect. And again, if you want to try this Granola application, being a broken record here, but it's in the link. You got a free month. The show gets a kick out. I really appreciate it. It all helps everything going forward and helps keep delivering content to you guys. So appreciate you joining the show. And then last but not least, architects, keep designing, and contractors, keep making those blueprints a reality. We'll see you on the next one.